felt it. The dark side has never been stronger. Every choice you have made has led you to this moment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Film Optics movie review. You may notice a little bit of changes. We're trying to mix it up here on the channel. But today, we're going to be talking about everything Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And I have two amazing guests here with me. I have Ren from Ren Geekness on YouTube. How are you doing today, man?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. I'm also trying new things. It's my first time wearing a sleeveless shirt on camera, so we're all good here.
Oh, right. Yeah. Hey, man, I know what you mean. I'm not much of a sleeveless person myself, but one day I'll get there. I'm working on it for sure. And we also have Pat from the Cinemania World team. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. Quarantine, you know, I got the nice little haircut thing going on, but I wish. I'm missing the barber a little bit too extra today, but I kind of like it. It's just, I don't know. It's just been a long time, and I'm trying to find people around town. I'm like, hey, you know, like, do you know anywhere that's like kind of sort of open? And I'm like, you know what? That's probably. So, I'm just gonna let it.
Don't have that problem.
You got the luscious locks, man. Look at you. It's amazing. Yeah. But as I said before, you know, we're going to be talking about everything Star Wars, the Clone Wars final season, which blew all of our minds, I'm completely sure. But before we begin today's review, just wanted to let everyone know out there that you can watch this on YouTube or listen to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, pretty much any major podcast platform besides SiriusXM, because we're not Mr. Moneybags. So that's totally fine. But that's all right. So where do you guys want to start? I mean, there's been so much going on with everyone's been talking about the last 4 episodes. And also, before we begin, want to let everyone know this is a complete spoiler cast. So we're gonna talk about everything. We're not holding anything back at all. So where did you guys
Anakin is Darth Vader?
What? No. Okay, I do have a confession to make because I watched the prequels before I watched the sequels when I was a kid because and I was like, when I found out that Anakin was Darth Vader during Revenge of the Sith, I was like, what? Like, I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was. Like, I knew of him, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I was like, why does everyone want to start from like episode 4? That's stupid. But, but I was
Weird.
Right. You know, I was just, yeah. So, I mean, a little bit backwards. That's kind of my spiel with everything.
I mean, a little bit forwards, though, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, I mean, do you guys
Literally
like
ahead of its time?
Right. Well, like, I wanted to ask you guys, so like when you're watching, you know, when you're feeling in the Star Wars movie, when you want to watch the entire Skywalker saga, do you guys start from the original and move on to the prequel, then the sequels, or do you guys watch it chronologically?
So I usually go release order for me. I know a lot of people watch it like storyline chronologically, but usually for me, I do the originals and then the prequels and then the sequels now.
Okay. What about you, Ren?
Well, I'm actually kind of like you. I watched the prequels, or at least some of the prequels, before I watched the originals. Like, my first contact with Star Wars was Attack of the Clones. At the time, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Yes. I saw it when I was 9, and eventually I saw the originals, and that's my thing. The OT is my favorite Star Wars of all time, and for many of my friends, I'm like the Star Wars guy. If they need any information on Star Wars, I'm the disgusting nerd who says, well, actually, this time.
Well, technically.
So I'm that guy, but I usually watch it chronologically. I haven't fully, I watched the whole Skywalker saga every year, at least once. Usually before a movie came out, but I don't know how I'm going to do that now. I haven't fully integrated Solo and Rogue One yet. Like, I think I've watched Rogue One at least once every year since it came out because I love it. But I don't actually put it in the middle of the saga. I just watch Rogue One because I watched Rogue One on its own. But that's really it.
Okay, yeah. It's I see I've okay, with Rogue One, I don't hate it. I've only seen it like twice, so I need to go back and watch it again to get a full understanding in my ranking in itself because I know a lot of people love it. I know a lot of people hate it, but I do love the ending. That is one thing I know for sure.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's just coming in, wrecking all the noobs. It's all good. But
Top 3 scenes in all of Star Wars.
oh, absolutely. But so all right, so I guess let's start getting into the meat and potatoes here with everything. So what were your guys' first thoughts, when they announced the Clone Wars saves for the 7th season? What were like your first initial thoughts? I guess we'll start with Ren.
My thoughts, it was really weird because it came out during Star Wars Celebration, right? It wasn't Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Celebration.
Yeah, over here it's like, I don't know, 8 to 9 p.m. in the evening when the news starts coming out because it's the middle afternoon for you guys. And so I was sitting I think I was watching a movie or maybe watching a show, and suddenly news of Star Wars, Clone Wars starts coming out. But the first news that I see is always from comicbook.com or We Got Discovered or
We got
the most faithful sites, not the most trustworthy sites. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's Clone Wars. And then I go to Twitter because maybe I was sharing a review that I had just uploaded. And I'm like, holy shit, everyone's talking about Clone Wars. And then I go to YouTube and there's a trailer and everything. And I start freaking out and I start messaging my friends, Clone Wars is back! Clone Wars is back! It was awesome because I wasn't always the big fan of Clone Wars because I watched the movie when it came out.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
Wow.
So my relationship with Clone Wars in the beginning was pretty rocky, but I started to love it as I followed the show because I started following as it was near its ending without me knowing it was nearing its ending. It was probably around season 5 when season 5 was airing that I started watching it from the beginning. And then suddenly it was gone for me. And I had lived a month or something with Clone Wars. But now it was finally back. Now we are going to fulfill that promise that it was going to connect with the prequels. So I was pretty happy to have it back. And I've always respected Dave Filoni as a creator. I think he always did a good job as a showrunner on it. So really happy to see that it was coming back.
All right, Pat, what about you?
I was just so excited. I mean, for years they'd been kind of because I was devastated when they ended it when Disney bought Lucasfilm. They released the lost missions that they had animated, but they never released at one point, which became season 6. And the ending that we had was it wasn't an ending, but it felt like, oh, I guess you could end it with that. But you knew there was more, and that always kind of hurt. And they would release little bits and pieces here and there of information, like animatics of things that they had started to work on. Some of the stories became comics and books. And I was always just oh man, it would have been so great to see this actually connect. And they would talk about, the Siege of Mandalore or Darth Maul versus Ahsoka and stuff like that. And I'd be like, God damn, we never got to see any of that.
Until now.
Yeah, then Clone Wars saved. I was like, oh my God, I was just so happy that we'd see some sort of ending for this show. And I know they still weren't able to fully produce all the episodes they had planned and all the different story arcs. But what we got, I thought was worth the wait overall. And I was just so pleased that Dave Filoni got to actually tell this story.
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you guys. When the news came out, it felt like a little bit of a dream. I was like, oh my God, it's been forever. And it's kind of one of those shows where, it's they're just, they're never going to revitalize it. You kind of just have it in the back of your mind. It's one of those wishful thinking type of things. And then when it came out, my friend shared it to me on Twitter. I was like, no, this is no way. And I'm like, okay. And then, I started reading more into it. And I'm like, Ahsoka's one of my favorite Star Wars characters next to Anakin. He is my number one favorite character. And I know a lot of people don't really like him, or the Hayden Christensen version of him, but he holds a special place in my heart, so that's fine. But yeah, I was ecstatic as both of you guys. But even with this this new series, so it's technically, would you guys say it's technically broken up into two arcs? Because we have the Bad Batch arc, and then pretty much, Ahsoka with Trish, and I'm blanking on her name. With Rafa, I think it was, right. And then that kind of bleeds into, the big four. So so I guess I wanted to ask you guys, like, what did you think of like the Bad Batch? I guess we'll just take it, arc by arc, and get to the good stuff later on. But what did you guys think of the Bad Batch arc? Did you think it was necessary? Because I've been watching a lot of reviews, but I wanted to get your guys' take on it. But Patrick, we'll have you go first this time.
Sure. So the Bad Batch arc I love. This was one of the ones that they had released like pretty much like rough animations of like early versions of those episodes like years ago.
Mm.
So I'd seen those like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago or whatever. But there was a lot of changes that they'd made, and seeing them in full, like the new beautiful animation that they've improved so much on in the past like decade since it ended. I thought it was necessary just to kind of bring you back to the clones to the forefront, and you got to see like delve more into Rex's view on things. You got to wrap up some of the stuff with like Echo and things like that, and I thought that was important for what happens later with Rex. I think seeing a lot of the stuff that he learns in that arc and just kind of getting more into his headspace was important for those final few episodes. So I definitely think it was necessary, and I did love the Bad Batch themselves. I thought they were a lot of fun.
Okay. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I also really like this arc. I don't think it would have been as necessary or impactful if this season had come out like right after the previous seasons, if it had never gotten canceled or paused for any reason at all. But I think we needed it to get reacquainted with the clones, get a sense that there are a lot of different clones, especially with the Bad Batch, and get that sense of resolution, which I didn't even know there was anything to be resoluted with Echo. But seeing Rex go through that endeavor, I think was really important, as well as Anakin's relationship with the clones. There's that military hierarchy, but there's also a lot of respect, and you can feel like the stories that these guys share on the battlefield with each other.
Okay, yeah, I definitely, I agree with Ren when it comes to if this season would have came out, right after season 6, I feel like people would have kind of just blew past it, because I've been trying to get my friends or my co-hosts on our podcast to watch Clone Wars, because originally I was like, yo, season 7's coming out. I need you to watch all of Clone Wars, or at least the important episodes. And he didn't do it. And then he's not really much into the whole cartoon or animated. He just wasn't really much into the style. So he was going to join us, I thought, but it's okay. But I was like, yo, like, if anything, just watch the last 4 episodes and tell me what you think. And he said, maybe. So I don't know what that means, but it's okay. I mean, hopefully he at least watches it so he can experience the emotional roller coaster that we all felt. But I do agree with Ren again, when it comes to the Bad Batch arc. I feel like it was a good way to humanize the clones as well, throughout the entire arc pretty much, especially towards the end, that they weren't just, tools for war. These were, I mean, they were clones, but, they were people with feelings, and, they did follow orders, but, they have their own dreams too. I mean, I like to assume so. But I guess moving towards from the Bad Batch onto essentially the last arc, Ahsoka's arc. Did you guys think that was necessary between wow, I'm blanking on their names again. I'm so sorry. The two sisters, Trace and Rafa. Did you guys think it was necessary, or how did you did you think that was a good lead up to where eventually everything bleeds into the Revenge of the Sith?
Who should start?
Ren, yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's those the Adventures of Ahsoka with Trace and Rafa. In concept, I think it's good because Ahsoka in the season is very pro-humanitarian and very anti being soldiers for war for not the government but the Senate.
Mm.
So I think in concept it's great, and I think it allows us to see the workings of Darth Maul throughout the galaxy with the Pike Crime Syndicate and all the others that he was working with. About a cameo that I really like, we'll talk about when we get to the final arc. But man, this second arc, for someone who loves Ahsoka, such as me, I was like, all right, Ahsoka is back. Okay.
So excited. Yeah.
And then that first episode is such a drag. Like, they fight the robot, and then they're having this kind of sweet conversation, even though at this point I really don't care about the Trace character. But all right, they're getting acquainted. Okay, we're going to start now, and the episode ends. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait another week. that second week is exactly the same thing again.
4 episodes later.
This was another 4-episode arc. The 2 first episodes, take them out. You don't need them. I don't care about them. I don't think anybody cares about them. The second 2, the third one was okay. I can see something of interesting in here. But my biggest problem with that episode is that they start off in prison, and then the episode ends with them in prison again. All the episodes did, like, okay, they learned something about each other. But the problem is we are already 3 episodes into this arc. The fourth and final episode in that arc is the one that I was like, okay, that's a good episode. Solid, have no major issues with it. I still don't really care about these characters. Like, I'm only starting to care about them in the 4th episode of a 4-episode mini arc. So I thought it was very sloppily executed, but I can see why they did it. It was important for the character of Ahsoka.
Yeah. Pat, what about you?
I'm in a similar boat to Ren. It wasn't quite as bad for me just because I watched most of the season all together. I forced myself to wait up until like episode, I think Phantom Apprentice had just aired, and one of my friends was like, you need to watch. Just shut up and watch. Okay, fine. So, because I was planning on just waiting to binge the whole season altogether, but at that point, but yeah, it was... I think it didn't need to be 4 episodes, 3 episodes?
Yeah, 4 episodes.
4 long episodes.
Tell me how you really feel.
You didn't need it to be that long. I would have actually preferred if they had condensed it down a bit, maybe had 2 episodes of that, and then you could have condensed the comic book story they did that was originally Clone Wars scripts, The Son of Dathomir with Darth Maul. Done that as 2 episodes, and you could have had 2 episodes each showing Ahsoka and Darth Maul. Where have they been since last we've seen them? And that would have connected it to the final 4 episodes where we see them now doing in their big confrontation. I would have preferred something like that, but I mean, I loved seeing Ahsoka. It was good to see where she's been, obviously, but they kind of were a drag to get through, and that was kind of a disappointing thing, and I was just glad the last few episodes definitely made up for that. But if this was just an arc and there was more episodes before the final arc in between, I would completely forget about this arc, pretty much.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think you need to work for Disney. Just be like, listen, John Favreau.
Darth Maul. He's important, so let's show where he's been instead of just one line of him being like, oh yeah, you guys saved me from Palpatine.
Yeah.
Show that.
It's like, I totally forgot about the Son of Dathomir. And, when he's being rescued, by the Death Watch, and he mentions, he's like, oh, he's like, you guys saved me once. I was like, what is he talking? I'm like, oh, that's right. The thing I didn't really read. I kind of just watched the video explaining what happened. So shame on me.
it's just, it's sad that like out of all the arcs they didn't do and that they haven't been able to animate, like people talk about the Boba Fett Cad Bane arc, like that would be cool.
Oh
But
yeah.
I feel like the Son of Dathomir one, because of how big of a role Darth Maul plays in the final few episodes, I wish they had done that this season, like I said, as 2 episodes to counteract the kind of boringness of the Ahsoka arc.
Yeah.
You could have mixed them together in there, and I think it would have been an improvement over this few episodes with Ahsoka.
Yeah. Ahsoka definitely carried that arc. I mean,
For sure.
but it's like we never hear about these two sisters like ever again.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no real closure. It's like she goes to I forgot the name of the planet, and then the Death Watch, not Death Watch, but Mandalorians come in. It's like, hey, yeah, they're like, hey, we need you, we need your help. She's like, okay, well, bye, and then you just never see them ever again. It's like, cool, just we're just here. It's not like we spent all this time together and this is why you hate the Jedi and blah 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 blah. Because I mean, it makes sense, obviously coming from Ahsoka. She doesn't seem sour about leaving the leaving the order, but how much time had passed between season 6 and 7? Because as soon as Ahsoka left, like, does that immediately start, when she goes down to the bottom levels of Coruscant?
I think so.
I didn't think so. I didn't get that. I mean, it can't be like a super long time. It can have been like a year or something.
Right.
But I'd say 2, maybe 3 months, something like that.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought, because, they're like, they bring in the recap, and it's like, Ahsoka's, left the order. And I'm like, wait, is this like literally right after? Because she definitely looks older, like at least a little bit older. Yeah. I'm like, something doesn't match up here, but that's okay. It's fine. But, so Trish and I forgot the other. See, they're forgettable, and it's like I wish.
The fact we're forgetting their names.
The sisters,
the sisters, not the Night Sisters, the other sisters.
Yes. Those are cool.
I know, right? Oh man.
Talzin wasn't Son of Dathomir, just saying.
She was. It's like that double voice with the super low man voice, and then her. I was like, it was amazing. I'm like, oh my god, it's like amazing sound editing. Like, how do you do that? Like, are you really a woman, or like, are you just like something else?
It's Rita Repulsa. Actress.
Oh man, it's insane. But I guess were there any before we move on to like the big arc, I feel like we're going to be talking more about that than anything. Were there any like Easter eggs, references from these previous 2 arcs that you kind of caught? Because I normally tend to, I watch episodes and I'll go online and see if there's any nice Easter eggs or nods to anything. But I wanted to see if did you guys have any favorites?
I think I caught something here or there at the time, but right now I'm really blanking, and that's maybe because the 4 last episodes are so good, and I'm focusing on that. But I have a vague memory of noticing this on one episode or the other, but like right now, it's like no, I didn't notice anything.
Okay, anything with you, Patrick, or is we just...
nothing that sticks out. A similar thing where I feel like, because of the last few episodes, it's like specifically.
Okay, well, let's just get into the meat and potatoes here. We'll get into the weeds. So the final 4 episodes, I believe the first one was called Shattered. I believe.
That's the third one. That's
the
Order 66.
Order 6. That's right. Oh man, we all knew it was coming. I was waiting for it. I'm like, 66. But let's just we don't have to talk about each episode individually. We could just from here on out. I just wanted to kind of cover the other stuff just to give it a fair shake, and I know everyone's talking about the last 4 episodes, but I wanted to give it a fair talking point, because everyone's like, well, what happened to the clones, and it's like, okay, it's cool, but let's just get into it. So wow.
Yeah,
pretty much.
like this 4 episode, like I felt like these last 4 episodes could have just been one movie. They just
They felt that way.
I think the intention, it really felt like that was their intent, was to maybe have you watch this all together.
Yeah, because I think it starts off, with Anakin and Obi-Wan. He's like Anakin standing on the bridge, toying with the enemy and all the droids, and then he's just like, Obi-Wan, like, what are you doing? And it's like, oh my god! Like, of course, it's Anakin. It's like, yeah, we know he falls to the dark side, but I love how even Darth Maul, knew what was going on between the Emperor's plans and how close Ahsoka is to Anakin. It was almost as if, like, I mean, I saw a few people talking about it online. Do you guys think that Ahsoka could have saved Anakin from the dark side, or do you think she would have maybe joined him? Because they were like, a lot of Anakin's like ideologies and a lot of his mannerisms and whatnot were rubbing off on Ahsoka. So it kind of like, I was just wondering. I guess Patrick, we'll start with you this time.
Oh boy, loaded question.
It is a loaded question. I know. I'm sorry.
Boy.
I mean, it's been rattling around in my brain for a while.
It's like I'd want to say yes because of how close they were, but at the same time, Palpatine had his claws so deep in Anakin and just pushing on those vulnerabilities and things like that, that I don't know if Ahsoka would have made a difference in the end. I think maybe she might have delayed it a little bit, but like all of those seeds were already Anakin's distrust of the Order, his relationship with Padme, and his worry about how that was going to go down. I feel like if Obi-Wan couldn't help him, then I don't think Ahsoka would have been able to either, honestly.
That's a good, yeah, this is actually a really good point, especially Padme, because I mean, we all know how that ended. But he's like, I've been wanting to try this trick on someone. Padme, come here. But it's like, even through Revenge of the Sith, like when they're on Mustafar and, she hears all these terrible things about Anakin. And then you see him come out after he sees a ship and he's like, oh, I got to put my hood on. He's like, oh, hey, honey, what's up? How are you? What's going on? Hi. And she's just like, oh, Obi-Wan said, what? No.
There's no way you told me you killed children on Tatooine one time, but there's no way you'd ever kill them.
It's like he just flew out of her head.
Against me.
Exactly. But I guess, we could just speak freely about this, but Ren, I guess, what were your thoughts, your final thoughts of the final 4 episodes, and do you think they can extend it from where they ended it, I guess? Because I know there was rumors about them expanding it more or having more seasons, but I don't know what else they can really.
Yeah. So first of all, these last 4 episodes were like so good. They could have been a movie, as you said. They could have been Clone Wars the movie too. It would have been the Empire
Best
Strikes
sequel ever.
Back of Clone Wars movies. So there's a layered reference right there. But I don't see how they could. I mean, what else they could add that we don't already know, because it's already clashed with Revenge of the Sith. I mean, in Star Wars, in regards to the Skywalker saga itself, there's no interesting stories to tell between like the Revenge of the Sith and, well, I was going to say New Hope, but now I guess I'd say Solo and Rogue One.
Rebels.
Rebels. But I mean, that story as well is already told. I mean,
That's
if
true,
this story is Ahsoka and Anakin, I mean, it's told. I guess I could see them doing something, even though I myself don't see what that something would be. I don't feel the need for it at all. I think this story is told. I loved that it ended on a very dark, somber note. Like, Ahsoka is completely lost. She has no direction to go. And Anakin finds her lightsaber thinking he would find something of Ahsoka, like to grab onto something of his past, but now he thinks she's dead. He feels like everything he had at all is absolutely gone, and I loved it. In regards to your question about could Ahsoka turn Anakin, save Anakin from turning. I'm going to agree with Patrick. It was what I was going to say. Like, if Obi-Wan couldn't do it, I don't think anything could. I mean, it's fate. It's the will of the Force, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that is true. I mean, maybe it could have been Mace Windu. I saw Patrick actually retweeted. I agree with you. Don't worry. It was just so everyone's like, oh, like Mace Windu's the real villain. I was like, what do you? No, he was just.
They're like, he's responsible for killing Anakin. I'm like,
no, he's just a dick. Like, I mean, yeah, like he had reasons not to trust Anakin, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like Yoda might. Well, Yoda, I don't think.
I wouldn't blame anyone except for Palpatine. Palpatine was a manipulative bastard. Everyone else unintentionally contributed, sort of.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how smart are the Jedi, because even during all of this, like even Ahsoka was like clueless when, you know, during the final duel between, or the final duel before they duel again in Rebels. That duel was amazing, but it's like the dialogue that they had right before when she's like, well, what's Anakin's plan and all this? And I'm like, Ahsoka. Let's think about this.
The Jedi aren't super bright ever. You can say the dark side's clouding their judgment, but like literally in episode 2, Count Dooku flat out tells Obi-Wan, Darth Sidious is controlling the Senate. Darth Sidious is. Maybe the guy in charge of the Senate who we're like are concerned about.
Detectives, they are not.
No, I mean, neither was Luke when it came. It's like, oh, like old Ben Kenobi. He's like, oh, I wonder if that's. I was like, oh my God, Luke, please. But it's fine. But yeah. So I really liked the. Sorry, not to derail, but it's fine. The dialogue right before not Vader. Wow. Maul, excuse me, and Ahsoka fight when. You know, everything's happening and she's denying the fact that Anakin's gonna fall to the dark side. And I think my favorite line from that was when Maul was like, I think the Padawan needs to be taught one more lesson. I was like, oh my God, it was insane, dude. But I guess how did you do you guys think that Revenge of the Sith is a I guess the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars enhances the viewing experience of Revenge of the Sith, because, you know, they do the dubbed over with Execute Order 66 when you know, Ahsoka is, you know, leading Maul back to, I believe she was taking him back to Coruscant.
Yeah. No, she was taking him back to Coruscant, to the Council specifically.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, all hell breaks. But yeah, I mean, you know, just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. I'm sorry if I'm talking so much. It's just it's a long day. But it's been a long week. But I guess, yeah, Patrick, we'll go ahead and start with you. Just, you know, your overall thoughts.
Revenge of the Sith, I do think it doesn't really change how I view the movie. It's just knowing all this stuff happened like in another part of the galaxy, but also kind of close by in some respects to that story. Like all the ways I thought they incorporated Revenge of the Sith into this season, I thought they handled it like beautifully, the way they tied everything together. Like things from like the Jedi Council having that discussion of like the same line for line reading of I suspect a plot to destroy the Jedi, and then it's coming in like a minute later, like things like that. I thought like kind of enhances just knowing how it makes it feel bigger and makes the effects feel much more like this show always, I knew it would, like it has made the clones so much more sympathetic. And it makes it so much worse now, Order 66, knowing what the relationship they had with the Jedi was. Because you knew it was like good, but you didn't know like how good between them. Like they were friends, they were really close. But it also makes Commander Cody look like an asshole because Rex struggled.
Rex did struggle.
Like, shoot that lizard. I'm like, really, Cody? Really?
Like, bro, why?
Why are you crying about this?
Cody's like, oh, finally.
Man, I hated this guy.
He's like, I've been waiting for this for a long time. But
like it's just the way they handled it was so perfect for Revenge of the Sith, and hearing Hayden Christensen's voice gave me chills with Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Those
yes.
moments were like, and then even just I almost cried. I teared up when you heard the Anakin's Dark Deeds soundtrack score
Hmm.
music playing when Order
Hmm.
66 happened, because that really made it feel connected. Just as like on an emotional level, it reminded me of all those. It just felt like all these Jedi are dying right now, and she is barely surviving.
Wait, seriously, barely surviving.
So good. The way they handled that. I think next time I watch Revenge of the Sith, I think I'm really gonna feel this season will be in the back of my mind a lot.
Yeah, I actually did. I watched Revenge of the Sith on Revenge of the Fifth. So, and but like, but rewatching it, like knowing everything that happens, like because Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I know a lot of people out there aren't super crazy about it, but you know, to each their own. It's totally fine. But it's very like for whatever reason, I emotionally connected to that story when I was a kid because you know there's nothing more tragic to me than like you know a fallen hero, someone who's lost their way, and you know there is still good in him, but it's like it all just makes sense because it's like Anakin got screwed so hard throughout just everything. It's like oh yeah it's like you sit on this console. We do not grant you the rank of master. I'm like, yo, what the, what?
Mace
It's
Windu
weird
did
that
nothing
Anakin.
wrong.
It's weird that Anakin never brought up, but I have an apprentice.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was the only small issue I had. It really stuck to that, you know, they couldn't incorporate Ahsoka more into Revenge of the Sith because, you know, that would bleed into
at the time.
yeah. It's just like, all right, you know, we can have their final goodbye, which was heartbreaking, by the way, and that almost brought me tears. With you know, they all the clones come out with like the painted helmets, and then you know she gets her last gift from the Anakin, and I was just like, I can't, I got to pause the TV, like collect ourselves. But sorry, go ahead, Ren. What would be your thoughts of like, did this enhance the like a Revenge of the Sith viewing for you?
Well, I'm actually a fan of Revenge of the Sith. Like, it's the only prequel that I legitimately like. It has quite a few of the same issues of the previous two, yet not as bad, or not as much on the forefront. There are actually a lot of good scenes in that. No matter what people say, I love the duel of Anakin and Obi-Wan. I don't care if they're flipping
Oh,
around
it's
too much.
so
I love that they're
good.
flipping around too much. I'm here for that type of
Exactly. I want to see Jedi flipping around, cutting each other's limbs off. Let's go.
But if anything, the type of storytelling and the use of music and emotion and the lack of dialogue in a lot of the scenes of this final arc of Clone Wars, I'm like, they kind of told the story even better.
Yeah.
At certain points. So I don't think it enhances my personal viewing, though I haven't yet rewatched The Revenge of the Sith since finishing Clone Wars. But I don't think it damages it either. I think if anything, it completes the impact of the beginning of the third act of that film when Order 66 is executed. I have to say it that way. I'm sorry.
No, of course. I mean, even when when Ahsoka's bringing Maul onto the ship, and then she lets Maul go, and I was like, I felt like that was going to happen, but I wanted to see what her reasoning was. And he's like, "Yo, give me a lightsaber," and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not that stupid." It's like all these. Sorry,
I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of unfair. But then he starts schooling clones. I'm like, oh, he doesn't need him. He doesn't need him.
There's been so much talk about like whose hallway scene was better, Darth Maul or Vader's, and I mean maybe yeah, like Vader just oh my god, Vader had his lightsaber, but it's like this is Vader we're talking. This is the baddest mofo in the galaxy, and he just wrecks. Like
genuinely, the first time I saw it, I was scared. I had my legs up in the air. I was like, holy shit!
I was like, that red lightsaber. It's like, nope, I'm going home. It's like pack it up.
Like a Fallen Order. And when he shows up, I'm like, can I run away? Can I just die? What do I do? I'm not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna win.
It's just there's something this is so intimidating. Like I wouldn't be as intimidated in the presence of Maul as I was.
I would be a little scared. He looks like a devil.
Yeah, he does.
Maul also has kind of the cool factor. If Maul showed up, I'm like, can I join you? Is that an
Yeah.
option?
Pretty badass.
I'm like, so how did you
If
get?
shows up, I just shit myself, and
It's
I
like,
die.
my life is yours. I'll do anything you ask.
You're standing there with your lightsaber. Vader shows up. Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
you know what?
it's
Just
funny,
take it.
right?
Take it. I'm done.
If it was like Maul from just the movies, he'd probably be doing flips and stuff and not saying much. But this Maul would be giving me some inspiring philosophical speeches.
Exactly.
Some of the things he was saying was like low key making a lot of sense. I'm like,
Oh my, okay. The way they incorporated Maul into all this, like just even in general with the Clone Wars show, genius. But these like past few episodes, just the idea that when you found out he was after Anakin rather than Obi-Wan this time, because he literally is just like, you know what, Palpatine, I know you're up to like whatever your end game. I don't know specifically, but I'm gonna take this wrench and just shove it in you, like whatever plan you had. Like that being his motive was so good. Like,
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen some alternate universe where Maul totally messes up Palpatine's.
Yeah.
seriously though.
Yeah, when he like, I've always loved the legend of the Siege of Mandalore. It's always this big event that we heard about, and we've always had like the Mandalorian's perspective on it. You're like, I want to see this event, and now we finally see it, and we learn there's a recontextualization of it. Like, Maul wanted it to kill Anakin, to stop Palpatine, and at that moment when he's explaining it to Ahsoka, us knowing that what eventually happens,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's hard to root against the guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like, you know what? All right. Okay.
There
Okay.
was nothing more haunting to me. Well, I mean, the Order 66 stuff. But before that, like when he's just dangling, screaming that we're all going to die, like
Yes.
seeing Darth Maul that afraid and
Yeah.
just knowing that something terrible was about to happen. Oh, so good.
It's like, okay, I've never seen this man cry. I've never seen him be afraid of anything in his life. And then, like, there's something rattling this guy's soul. And it's just like, something's up. But no, the Jedi are like, oh, I suspect a plot. Dude, you know. I'm like, you suspect or do you know? Like, those are two totally different meanings of two. Oh my gosh. But it's totally fine. I was going to ask, hold on, what? So, was there anything within the last 4 episodes that didn't really work for you guys? I know we kind of touched on it, but like, was there any scenes you guys could have like done without, or is it just like damn near perfect for you? I guess, because I mean, the only thing I would say is that honestly, sometimes I believe less is more, and if season 7 was just these last 4 episodes, I would have been totally fine. And I think I don't think I don't think I like it less because of the other episodes, because it does give it more of a meaning with, you know, humanizing the clones and whatnot. And the sisters can just go fuck themselves. But was like, just get those episodes out. Like, if it was just like the Bad Batch and then the last 4, like 8 episodes, boom, 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 done. You know, we all wanted to know what happened to I'm like blanking on everyone's name. The clone that went missing.
Echo?
Echo, yeah. And it's like, okay, like he's alive. And then they were like, oh, you know, is he gonna turn on us? And it's like, nope. And he just joins the Bad Batch, and then we never see him again. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen the Bad Batch do Order 66. Even like
that would have been
brief,
sweet.
like cutaway to them betraying the Jedi. I feel like.
Well, I wonder, like, since they were technically defects, did the chip, you know, inside of their brain, did that work?
That's what I was gonna ask. That I have had that question in my mind ever since their arc finished. Like, are they going to execute Order 66? Are they not affected by the chip at all? That was
would've
one
been
of the
cool to
questions in
see.
my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they didn't turn and then got mowed down by other clones?
The regs.
No one takes on the Bad Batch, I guess.
Dumb
They
one.
have
Great
Rambo.
Final stand.
You have Rambo.
They literally have Rambo as their leader.
I was like, hold on, I've seen you somewhere before.
Like the big guy looks like the Punisher when he wore the War Machine armor in the comics.
Yeah.
But then when the leader comes out, I'm like, that's Rambo.
It's
That's
like,
Rambo,
there he is,
Lucasfilm."
there he is. Oh my gosh. So when it compared to other seasons, what would how would you rank this between others? Like between the other 6, I guess, because I know it starts off a bit slow and clunky, but obviously I would say, I don't know. I would have to think on it for a little bit, but I guess how would you guys rank the season 7 like overall? Like, do you think Disney? Do you think they actually did a really good job with tying everything up? Because there's a lot of people online saying "quote unquote" Disney ruined Star Wars, and I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, they're allowed to mess up. Yeah, like I feel like they're allowed to mess up like everyone else. I mean, George Lucas definitely messed up on Attack of the Clones and a little bit with Phantom Menace, but that's okay. I mean, like I still love the movies all the same. It's just
Yeah.
But I guess we'll start with Patrick.
So I think they did a good job wrapping stuff up. But as far as rank, it's tough because I feel like every season of Clone Wars you had like some amazing arcs, but then some of those seasons also had some slow arcs. Like you have like 5-episode arcs of younglings like doing stuff, but it's in the same season as when Darth Maul fights Sidious with Savage.
Yeah.
Like it's a mixed bag either way because you're doing different arcs with different. But like I would rank this one pretty high just because of the last 4 episodes. I feel like
They're just so
some of
fucking
the best
good.
the show has ever been.
Yeah.
So,
Like those last 4 were like the definition of what Star Wars is. I love every second of it. And it was just I want to rewatch them, but I've been watching Solar Opposites over here, and it's actually a really good show. I was talking to Ren about it earlier, but Ren, what about you? Do you think it's easier for you to rank this among the other seasons, or are you kind of in the same boat?
I think it's a little easier for me. Like, I don't know how long it has been since Patrick watched the previous seasons. I rewatched them during Christmas time because the new season was announced, and I'm like, oh, I have Disney Plus. I have time. Here we go.
Yeah.
And I just watched it from beginning to end. I honestly would rank it either at number 1 as the best season or right after season 5. Because season 5 is when Ahsoka leaves. It's got a lot of Darth Maul and Savage versus Sidious. It's got a lot of Maul period.
Yeah.
It has one. I think it's season 5. It has one particular episode that I really like where the arc itself is not so good. It's basically an arc where these droids keep crashing on several planets. But there's one episode where they crash on this planet where there's this lost clone, and he has amnesia. He doesn't remember that he's a clone working for the Galactic Republic. He doesn't remember that he has brothers and whatnot. He's just a cook, and he's being enslaved. But by the end, he helps the droids escape, and he dies, sacrificing himself against the droids.
That's right. Yeah,
I really love that episode. That's Clone Wars. What the show is, that episode really emphasizes it. But so, yeah, season 7, either at the very top or right after season 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
For
I'd
sure.
agree with that.
Absolutely. Man, I'm like running out of questions, but it is what it is. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to like touch on, throughout the season, or?
Well, I wanted to touch a little bit on something that I didn't get to talk about, and that's the episode Shattered. It's one of those episodes that I had to watch twice. Basically, I watched every episode in the last arc twice before even reviewing it. But like that one, I really feel like I needed to. It wasn't just I want to watch it again. I needed to, because that episode, the music by Kevin Kiner, who has always done a great job, but this season and in this arc especially, is so good. The music informs the story so well. There's such a lack of dialogue throughout so many scenes in this episode in the best way possible. That's just great storytelling. Very adult for a kids show. And adult as well, like the corridor scene with Darth Maul fucking up clones. But that's the music. I was sweating. I was on the edge of my seat. I was white-knuckled. I was nervous. The tension in that episode is absolutely masterful. Like, for writing purposes even, I would recommend this episode to just random people, even if they don't watch Clone Wars. Watch the story and how it's told in this episode. It's chef's kiss.
Definitely.
I feel. What about you, Patrick?
Sorry, what was the question?
It was just asking, like, was there anything you wanted to touch on that we haven't been able to talk about yet?
I would just like to talk about that, like how far Ahsoka has come as a character. Where now people were like clamoring to see how her story in Clone Wars ended, where it started, where we all saw the movie back in the day, and Ahsoka was just kind of running around going, "Sky guy, sky guy."
It's been so long.
I would be totally cool if you die before Revenge of the Sith, and now it's like. Now she's one of the best characters, and like it was nice. I liked the fact that it was like, as much as I like seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff like that, I was glad it came back around to Ahsoka, Rex, and even to a lesser extent Maul, who I feel like were all very, very important to this show in different aspects. So I was glad that it came back around to them, and it felt right to end it with them. In those last few moments as the ship's coming down, and those intense like scenes where Jesse's threatening Rex and stuff like that, it was nice that it all came down to really those three plus like a group of clones all struggling to figure out what to do. It felt like that was the right way to close this all out before that final scene.
Yeah, that final scene, I didn't really know where it was going to end because I kept trying to guess throughout the entire episode, and I was like, Ahsoka's like pulling a Black Widow, flying out of the plane. But like, I mean, but it was.
I made that comparison in my video.
You did.
I even put the clip up. I'm like, it reminds me of something right about now.
Yeah, I was hoping you cuss. He's like, wait a minute, I said that in my video. But yeah, and I totally agree. I was like, wow, I didn't even think about that. But like, just towards the very end of the season finale, where it kind of just ends, and that's totally fine. I didn't think we were gonna even get a glimpse of Vader, or
No.
Me neither.
through Clone War a fight, I guess you could say, because we kind of see it when Anakin has his vision of what he will become, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll never do that," and he's like, "Yeah, nice try, but you need to." He's like, killing younglings. I'm like, oh. Anytime someone says younglings, I swear I giggle. Like it is the worst thing because I just think of that one scene. Skywalker, what's he going to do? He just looks and it ignites his lightsaber. I'm like, oh man.
Every time someone says younglings, I'm like, do it.
Do it. Leave him or we'll never make it. But it's just, I think it's one of the most quotable in my opinion. But yeah, when when it ends, getting back on track a little bit, when it ends with Vader looking up at the sky and there's the bird. I've watched a few videos. That's right. And was it pretty much showing that there was still good in Anakin, or was it more of Ahsoka is still alive?
I think it's more of a symbol for Ahsoka. If you've seen Rebels,
I've not actually.
You gotta watch.
I've not watched.
Dude, you gotta watch Rebels.
I know. It's been on my watch list because my friends,
especially now, if you love Clone Wars, if you love Ahsoka. Like between Clone Wars and Rebels, before the season, I preferred Rebels. Now I'm not so sure overall, but I'll still tell you, Rebels overall is the best single episode out of any of these shows. And I'm not going to tell you why, because it's spoilers.
Well, I do know that Ahsoka meets up with. Okay. Yeah. I do know that happens, but I haven't seen the episode.
Okay.
Myself.
And it continues to humanize Maul. I forgot to say this as well. Forgive me, but the things we see of Maul in this final arc, because he doesn't show up anywhere else, really inform his character in Rebels, and I really love his character in Rebels. Like Maul in Clone Wars before this season, he was cool, he was badass, he was a great bad guy. But Maul in Rebels is really humanized in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did, like I said, it's been on my watch list. It's just. I feel like there's so much to watch, and ever since like the whole quarantine thing, I'm working from home, but it's like I'm on my computer all day, and I normally watch everything on my computer from time to time. I do have my TV and whatnot, but it's like I just feel like there's so much for me to catch up on. I've been listening to like everyone's podcasts and playing video games, and I'm like, well, my routine hasn't like changed all that much because I am still working, but at the same time, it's still hard to find all this time for. How many seasons of Rebels are there?
4, but they're really, the last one especially is only 13 episodes long. I think the first one is only 13 episodes long too.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long it was. My friend, he's not too crazy in the animation. I'm like, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, like
you
the
get
light.
used to it.
Yeah.
The story, by the time you get to like 2, 3, and 4, the stories get so good at points that it's like it never bothered me really.
Yeah.
Right. I know, like, because I was like, I'm like, why are their lightsabers so skinny? But it looks like toothpicks. But like, it's a it's a different art style. I wonder why they went that route.
Yeah.
But
It was supposed to look more like Ralph McQuarrie, who was the concept artist for the original trilogy. It was
Okay.
They're basing it more off that look for.
Okay.
Like Vader kind of looks more like his Vader.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So the first season has 14 episodes. 2 and 3 have 22, and season 4 has 16.
Oh, okay, that's not bad at all. I can do that in the weekend. I can definitely do that. Just watch it all back to back to back, no breaks, nothing.
You will try.
You will, yeah. Oh my god, I love that movie so much. I don't know what it is, but I guess I wanted to ask you guys, like, what are your like rankings of the Star Wars films? I know a lot of people have been talking about it on Twitter, but I guess
I gotta grab a pen.
Okay. I know a lot of people. I think it's more interesting of a topic to talk about than like what's your favorite Spider-Man movie or who's the best Spider-Man, because I keep seeing that come up on Twitter, and I'm like, why?
Never-ending war.
It's like if it's not Rotten Tomatoes, then it's discussing films. It's not discussing films. It's somebody else, and I'm like, ugh, I'm just tired comparing these three. I'd rather talk about Star Wars, but because it's more like there's something for everyone when it comes to Star Wars, whether it's Mandalorian, whether it's Rebels, Clone Wars the movie.
I never include that one in my rankings. Do you want me to include that one?
No, it's fine.
It'll be at the bottom probably of all of them.
Yeah. But I guess Ren, do you have like a definitive list of what yours?
Oh yeah, mine it's easy. So, but let me just preface it with, honestly, the original trilogy is one movie for me, so they'd all be as one movie. But if I'm ranking it as other people are ranking it, Return of the Jedi is the best one. Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, The Last Jedi, Force Awakens, Rogue One, Rise of Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace. I know that's unpopular. I know Attack of the Clones is usually at the bottom, but I'll get to my reasons after we all rank
I
it.
agree with you.
Oh no, that's fine. I have mine. Let me pull mine up on Ox. That actually exists. I always try to like keep track of my movies on there too, and it's like, God, I just get so sidetracked.
This past week, people have been trying to get me on Letterboxd so aggressively.
I mean, like, it's cool. I use it more as like a journal type thing of what films I have watched. But I mean, I know some people like follow each other. For the life of me, I can't figure out how to add a picture on this thing because I've looked up I've Googled this so many times, and it's like, oh, you got to go to like, it's easy if you do it on your phone. I'm like, it doesn't work on my phone, but that's okay.
I should probably get it for films that I do own on Blu-ray, because sometimes I'm at a store and I see a movie. Oh, this is so cool. Wait, do I have this one already?
Right.
I can't remember, and then I just don't take it home.
Yeah, it is very difficult sometimes. So, but it's, I mean, I like it just for that, I can, I want to rank like all the Harry Potter movies or, Spider-Man or whatever it may be. Excuse me. But I guess, so for the Skywalker saga, I guess not including Rogue One or Solo, Revenge of the Sith is my number one. Then Force Awakens, Empire Strikes Back, Last Jedi, then The Rise of Skywalker. Don't hate me.
I like the Rise of Skywalker.
I
It's like
do.
middle pack for me.
Yeah, like it's number 5 on my list, and then I have Return of the Jedi is number 6, and then Phantom
How dare
Menace.
you.
I like it a lot. It's just I don't know what it is. Like I love Empire Strikes Back so much, and I
Oh, it's
liked
awesome.
for Phantom Menace is my number 7, and then actually New Hope is my number 8.
Oh my god.
I do not like that film. That I know. I like Force Awakens better. I don't know what it is. Like it's not that I hate the film. It's just for some reason I just like I like it. It's cool. You know, it is something. It is the first of the entire franchise.
I just want to for A New Hope, just like a critic review. It's cool.
Pretty much. Like,
The Seal book.
Yeah,
It's cool.
it's like, what do you mean it's cool? Christian Eulenberg. It's cool. And then Attack of the Clones is the bottom for me. Now, am I missing one? I feel like I am. Oh no, that's 9. Sorry, I misread
That's
that.
9. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, where's Rogue One? I'm like, oh, I haven't. But Patrick, what about you? Have you finished creating your
wrote
list?
them down.
Oh my.
So I have Return of the Jedi number 1.
Yes. We're
I've
best friends,
always-
Patrick.
I'm cool with that. It's cool.
It's cool.
Number 2, I have Empire Strikes Back. Number 3, I have A New Hope. 4, Force Awakens. 5, Revenge of the Sith. 6, Rise of Skywalker. 7, Last Jedi. Then Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, and then Clone Wars the movie.
Sky Guy. As soon as you said Sky Guy, dude. That's right. Oh my god. Like all those memories came back. I could not contain myself.
Like I don't know what George Lucas was thinking. Like that was like couple episodes of season 1, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
we're just gonna put them in theaters as a movie.
Yeah,
It's like it wasn't intended as a movie. Like what? It's not paced like a movie. Like it feels like a disjointed mess.
It's awful.
Why did she call him why did he call her Snip? I can't remember.
Snippy. She was snippy.
Oh yeah, okay. That is true.
Aha.
Puns. We've got them all day.
By the
Oh
way,
my-
I just want to explain why I have Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace after it. I don't know if Patrick will agree with me.
Yeah,
Basically,
that was mine too.
Attack of the Clones is awful, but Attack of the Clones is fucking hilarious at points. My main problem, Phantom Menace is a movie where no single line of dialogue sounds natural. Every person talks like a robot.
You're a Jedi,
Even
aren't you?
They made fucking Ian McDermott sound like a robot. How is that possible?
Where are those droidy cars?
Anakin, it was like, oh my god.
Number 2, it's a movie that, I mean, you can basically read the premise on IMDb, but as you watch the movie, it's very complicated to pin down what the movie is about.
Dude, I
Like-
still have no clue.
Yeah,
to this
exactly.
day.
That's another problem. And my issue with that movie, I didn't have it the first time I watched it when I was like 10 or 11, but like ever since I watched it like with a critical eye, my main problem, my one of my issues with the film starts at the very beginning. There's the crawl, there's the outside space shot, and then we enter. And the Jedi go to a diplomatic meeting. Sit down.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Everyone's been waiting. It's like, oh my god, the prequels Jedi is gonna be doing kicks and flips and everywhere. It's gonna be amazing. And then it's just like this like poetry-esque story where it's oh man. Like
And it has the most amount of Jar Jar. So.
it does.
It's true, but it also has Sebulba, who I love on my heart.
Oh, that's
Sebulba's
right.
awesome.
Sebulba, yes. But yeah, honestly,
do that. The rest of us.
I agree with you, Ren. Like to this day, I still don't know what is going on in that movie. Like it's, I mean, I understand the premise, but it's just like it's like every single time I had to like remind myself what's going on. I'm like every single time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, like everyone's mainly watches Phantom Menace for Darth
The
Maul.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even with but like we got the dual fates out of it, we got Maul out of it,
Oh yeah,
and
there's good things.
and then we got Liam Neeson, who I honestly think like personally carried that entire movie on his back.
Oh, 100%.
Because I like when I was a kid, I was like, "Yo, where are the lightsabers?" I'm like, "Oh, there it is."
Have you guys read this book, by the way?
No, I have not. Master and
This book is
Apprentice.
so good.
What's the book?
So good.
Um,
It's Master and Apprentice. It's
Oh, yeah.
basically the story of Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon.
It's written by Claudia Gray, which
I've
is
been meaning to read
probably
that.
the best Star Wars author right now. It's so good.
oh yeah, I'll definitely have to
I've
look
been
into
meaning
that. There's like I have so many books I've been meaning to read. Like I'm trying to like reread all of like Game of Thrones, The Witcher. I wanted to start reading Dune before the movie comes out. Hopefully.
Same.
But I thought about watching the movie. I was like, I couldn't bring myself to do it. My friend's like, dude, it's rough to get through. He's like, you will have a way better experience if you just read the book. I'm like, okay, that's total. I got you.
Yeah. At one point, I watched the show Outlander, and at one point, I wanted to start reading the books, but then I saw how big the books were, and I'm like, nah.
It's hard, even with Lord of the Rings. Like I want to sit down and read Lord of the Rings, but for whatever reason, like I can sit there and read Harry Potter, Game of Thrones all day, but like something with the Lord of the Rings books, it just intimidates me.
It's
And
tough.
I'm like,
It's tough. They're more like textbooks.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's
But have
so
you
much
seen the,
world.
the Outlander books?
No, I think
No, I have not.
Dude. Like you look at the Outlander books, you look at the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, yeah, that's easy. I've never read the Lord of the Rings either, by the way. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
comparably.
Yeah, I read the Hobbit book, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna make it into a
It's
trilogy.
like a nice fairy tale to read, and then
Yeah,
the Lord of
it's-
the Rings books are like it's literally like every time they introduce someone, there's like 10 pages of the history of Middle Earth that follow.
In the series, seriously, dude, it's just like I tried to read. I was like, as much as I love the trilogy with all my heart,
Oh yeah, yep.
but wow, I mean, but Tolkien, he had this huge world, and it was so complicated, it was so interwoven, so perfectly, made up all these languages, and the world building was just like, wow,
Yep.
it's amazing, but it was intimidating at the same. But I'm really glad the movies exist, so I have somewhat,
Same.
yeah, I have appreciation for that.
Mm.
But
Just a real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clones, I just think it actually has a plot that actually sort of
Yes.
makes sense.
Mhm.
It
There's
does.
history.
Yes.
like, I mean, if it's more of a what? It's more of a love story between Anakin and Padme, and
That's at
Those
the
are the
same time
parts
the
of-
worst thing and the
Yeah.
best thing about it.
I
because
love
it's like it's like, I mean, you get this little horny teenager who's just like, oh, I love you, Padme, and it's like, but why does Padme love Anakin?
I
We all
always
Yeah.
wondered that, especially once he literally just committed mass murder. She's like, it's okay, that's just being human. I'm like,
That's the opposite of that.
yeah, you should be so scared.
so love has blinded you.
He's like, the fact he specified, it was the women and the children too. I'd be like, get the hell out of here.
He could have just left it at, I killed them all, leave it. Completely just left it ambiguous. Like, oh, he said he killed him. Well, who?
It
It's
was
like,
self-defense.
I mean, my question when he says that line is like, they're all wearing robes and masks. How do you know if there are women at all in that
it
speech?
could have been midgets you could have been killing. I don't. Which is, I mean, I don't know. It's Attack of the Clones is a movie that, I mean, I like bits and parts of it. It's just,
Christopher Lee.
yeah.
I like when all the Jedi run in to fight the droid, like all the lightsabers lit up. And
I think that was my favorite part.
Moment.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
And I love Yoda. I love Yoda fighting Dooku. I don't care what anybody says.
I do too, man. I don't know why people are like, why is Yoda flipping around? Like, because he's motherfucking Yoda. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
No, though in all fairness, Yoda shouldn't need to do all those flips. He just does this, and Dooku is out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's friggin' Yoda.
Or when he faces Palpatine in the Revenge of the Sith.
That one's awesome.
He just like walks in, the guards are like, halt, and he's like, nah, not today. He's just like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, that must have been a mighty force push. They didn't look that powerful, but they never got up, so.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It's
I
actually
like
fun.
to
It's
think
just-
that like not gonna play
Wait.
dead.
No, oh, seriously. I mean, honestly, some of those younglings could have played dead, but then again, this is Anakin we were talking about.
That's my favorite thing about that scene. I forget his name, but you know that like giant blue devil man with the huge horns that always hangs out with Palpatine?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where he just like they're both like trash talking each other, and he's just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Out of the room. Gone. Bye.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think my favorite part from Revenge of the Sith, and I don't know how these Jedi's got defeated so easily, when Mace Windu goes to arrest Palpatine, and it's like, what was going on?
Kit Fisto lasted 2 seconds longer than that.
This doesn't make any sense. I'm like,
My
aren't you
favorite part
guys
of
like?
that scene is when he spins around in the air.
He was like, oh. I'm like, oh my gosh, this
Have
is.
you guys seen someone took that clip of him spinning and it goes through different things? Like him spinning goes through space and destroys
Yeah.
all the
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
And I saw a lot of those, and the music starts playing, and it's dan 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 dan, dan. And he starts going to space. It's man, the memes out of the prequels is a gift.
There's so many. It is. I absolutely love it. But I wanted to ask you guys. I know we derailed for a little bit, but that's totally fine. So what would I normally like to ask people, like, you know, what their scores are for the season as a whole. We normally just do it out of 100. So what would you rate season 7 of the Clone Wars, the final season, out of 100? I guess we'll start with Ren.
Out of 100, well, it does run into a few problems in the middle. Maybe if it was a bigger season, I think I rank it like almost perfectly. Out of 100 is weird for me, but I guess I'll go.
Or
No,
sorry.
I'll use
Oh,
100.
okay.
There's no problem. But I don't think I can go quite 90, but I guess I'll go 88 out of 100.
Okay.
Not 66.
It's the highest I'll give it. It's the best number. What, Patrick? What about you?
I would say probably I'll give it a 90. 10 points off. What's their faces, but otherwise,
The sisters.
I liked it a lot. But like the middle part, I'm telling you, if they had put Son of Dathomir in there for 2 episodes instead, this would have been 100, because that would have balanced it all out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I normally
as all things should be.
yeah, like I'm more of a person who likes to give like films the benefit of the doubt, even though when they're, or you know, series, even if the series is like complete just like crap, but because I always try to, you know, look at the things that I enjoyed more over the things that I didn't, just because, you know, a lot of things I do like to go back and watch. But I would give this like a even 94, just because those last 4 episodes really just resonated with me, and because I'm such a big fan of Revenge of the Sith, it was just, I'm telling you, they could probably, someone out there can probably just like stitch that or like edit that into a movie. And
Someone probably has already.
probably, and it's just like, it's so powerful. It's everything that Star Wars is, and for people who aren't like a fan of the series, where it's like, oh, you know, like, oh, those old movies, and it's like, well, yeah, like that's where they stem from, but you know, the universe has expanded from there, And if I were to show anyone, what Star Wars is all about, I would probably show them those last 4 episodes, kind of give them a little bit of a, backstory, but, just to show like, hey, like, this is what we love and about the series. And, as much as we love to, sit here and make fun of it, which we've clearly done, and it's been a blast. I mean, there's faults in every, film franchise, but it's all in good fun, of course. It doesn't, we don't think of Star Wars any less than, it means so much to all of us. But yeah, I would definitely give it a 94. Bravo. I mean, Disney's been doing a great job with Star Wars so far. There's been a few bumps. A lot of people didn't really like The Last Jedi. People are still hating on it, and that's, to each their own.
It's amazing.
I love a lot of it.
I still remember Last Jedi was one of the first. It wasn't one of the first, but it was during the first year that I had the privilege to start going to press screenings back in my home country.
Nice.
And I watched that movie, and I was amazed right away. Most of the people I saw were amazed, but I'm like, I think this is going to be controversial. I had no idea how controversial it was going to be.
It does not deserve the hate it gets, and it's crazy that even like 3 years later, people are still
3 years, man. It's like,
at least not in the way.
Move on.
It's being what's the word? It's being spread around, attacking the actors and whatnot. Okay, fine. Can we hate The Last Jedi like we hated The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, something like that? Make fun of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it got bad for a while. I mean, even with Kelly Marie Tran, like, she was bullied off of Twitter. Even
Daisy Ridley as well. Daisy Ridley used to have an Instagram.
Yeah, that's oh man, I miss that
crazy.
Woman. It's even with Jar Jar Binks, with people are like
the best.
I'm pretty sure he almost he almost took his life because of that.
Yep.
It's like,
imagine if the prequels had come out now.
Oh my god, with
it's just, I mean, like, it's fun to, like, find faults in certain things, but like at the end of the day, at least for me, it's like, it's amazing when a movie just gets made that, there is a set group of people out there who are dedicated to this one project, and no matter how janky it may be, it's like, I mean, it got made at the end of the day, and there's a story that they wanted to tell, and some people may agree with it, some people may not, but it's like, for some, Star Wars is, they're like, I know for one of my friends, actually, Star Wars kind of like essentially like saved his life because he was going through a really dark time in his childhood, and for him it means like the world, and I think he has a higher or a deeper connection with the series than I do. Not saying that I don't. It's just this is someone's life we're talking about, so it's like, I think some people, like, it's different with those kind of people, but there are other fans that get like too passionate about something. It's like blind fanaticism. Yeah. It's like, oh, what's better, PlayStation or an Xbox? It's like, oh, fuck you, Sony Pony, blah 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 blah, or fuck you, Xbox, and it's like, what? It's like, too much sometimes.
Passion is totally fine if it's not gonna blow up on other people like in a negative way.
Yeah.
If you just start like freaking out at people just because they're like, oh, I like The Last Jedi, they're like, you're not a true Star Wars.
Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
I think that the hate for The Last Jedi perfectly represents the phrase that there's a difference between hating and hating on.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you, I hate my worst movie of all time, the film that I despise the most, is Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
I don't make 3 videos a week saying why Dragon Ball Evolution sucks and why every fan of Dragon Ball Evolution should die. I haven't made a single video about it.
That movie.
I will not go through that movie again. But
no,
like if I ever made it, like, I hated Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. I didn't make like 3 videos a week during a year to tell people why Resident Evil: The Final Chapter sucks. I made a video review about it, and I said it sucked, and that's it. I'm done talking about it. Like, I like to define myself by the things that I love and not the things that I hate. That's why I talk
Exactly.
MCU, Star Wars,
Oh yeah,
DC movies that I like, etc.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys on all fronts, and Ren, you've been doing a great job with your channel as well. Especially with
Thank you very much.
your podcast. I've been listening to that. I've been trying to branch out because I normally have there's a core amount of podcasts I listen to, but it was I would like to branch out. I want to start watching new movies I never even would have thought of watching. 5-10 years ago, watching new shows and just expanding my overall knowledge and seeing things in a different perspective. Because it's easy to watch the big players when it comes to all these podcasts, but I think it's important to support the community that you're trying to be a part of or that you are a part of, and surround yourself with people of the same likeness. And knocked over my drink. And just support each other in any way that you can, and just hope the best for each other. So, yeah. Well, did you guys have anything else to say about it? I know we've been talking for a while, or we can close up here.
No, I think I pretty much covered all my.
Okay. What about you, Ren?
Same with me.
Okay.
Same
well,
with me. I think I covered it all.
Okay. Well, for everyone watching out there, thank you for watching this video, and also, of course, thank you, Patrick and Ren, for coming on and talking everything Star Wars. I had a blast with you guys. Would definitely love to do this again, in the future.
We should talk about Rebels after you.
Yeah. No, we should do that, because I like that kind of aspect where it's like you have people who have watched it, and then you have a newcomer. Obviously, I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was a kid, but there's some things I just haven't watched that are Star Wars related. So that would be very interesting.
After each season, after you watch.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty.
Yeah.
I would like that a lot.
The only way I don't come back to talk Star Wars is if you want to talk about the holiday special or the
holiday special.
That's the only way I don't come back.
Oh my God, baby Chewbacca. That was, I totally forgot those existed until my friend mentioned it.
To be fair, let me make it clear. I have never seen the Ewok movies. I've seen the holiday special. Fuck me, but I've never seen the Ewok movies.
There's just one of those. It's just it's so. It's not even bad. It's just disturbing, and it's I get where they were trying to come from. It's it's Star Wars. Let's celebrate Christmas. It was all sorts of wrong. But but yeah, as I said before, yeah, we should definitely do this again. I wanted to go around and everyone put in their plugins and let everyone know what's coming up on your channel. Or Patrick, I'm not sure if you have a YouTube channel or not. I know it's I know you're a busy man, so I wasn't entirely sure because
No, it's mostly just my Twitter.
I got you. But so I guess Ren, go ahead, go first. Let everyone know, where they can find you, all that social media garbage, and where they can what's coming up on your channel.
Yeah, you guys can find me anywhere at Ren Geekness, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have the same name everywhere, so there's no confusion at all. This week I got a few reviews coming. Of course, Scoob is coming out on Friday. I also got a review for Radioactive, the Marie Curie movie, sometime earlier this week. And this week's episode of my podcast, Geeks of the Roundtable, that I co-host with Zach Pope, will be talking anime. And we got a very interesting main event planned for that.
Ooh.
Oh, I definitely got to tune in for that because I love me some anime. Some good stuff. But Patrick, go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you on Twitter.
So you can find me on Twitter at @thisPatGuy, and I'm also on a lot of different movie podcasts sometimes, mostly Cinemania, but I've gone on Alex Madden does movie reviews. I'm on his channel sometimes on YouTube. Yeah, I'm kind of just around.
Oh, no, hey man, that's great. Collaborating and getting your voice out there, letting everyone hear what you have to say, because that's
it's like talking movies,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's some great stuff. Can't wait for San Diego Comic-Con next week. I mean, next year though. Free parking. custom seating. Well, I'm kind of interested to see what they're doing there. But for everyone else who is listening, this pretty much does conclude our spoiler review of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely give it a watch. It is fantastic in every way, shape, or form. I know we like to poke fun at it, especially towards the beginning, but hey, it's it's still a great time either way. You know, it's important to get the full effect of the entire season in itself. But what's coming up on our podcast / YouTube channel, I do want to start doing more like game reviews. So I am going to be doing a first impressions review of The Last of Us Part 2 when that comes out. I'm writing a script for that, so that'll be a lot of fun. I believe we are reviewing Solar Opposites Season 1 that will be coming out tomorrow, and I also have a bonus episode of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War that me and my buddy reviewed yesterday. So that will be a bonus episode coming out sometime within this coming up week. This is probably pretty much just going to come up. I'm just going to upload it today. So maybe within the next hour or two, depending on how long it takes to render, but that's fine. But that's pretty much it. You can follow our Twitter and Instagram at Film Optics. Optics is spelled OPTIX. And we're also, since I should probably mention this, we're doing a giveaway for the Skywalker Saga. All 9 movies. One lucky winner will be winning all 9 copies because today is actually my birthday. So,
happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's totally fine because I mean it's quarantine, so it's like the days don't even
right. It's a void.
mesh together. Yeah. But my parents surprised me and got me the Skywalker Saga. The the thing from Best Buy, the big collection. Ooh. And yeah. And I already have the digital copies of Star Wars myself. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do a giveaway for it. So one lucky winner is definitely going to win the entire Skywalker Saga for digital codes. You're going to redeem those on Movies Anywhere, iTunes, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to put the link to that in the description down below as well. It is supposed to, I think I have it set to end on the 12th, but I think I might extend it like another day or two just to kind of get the word out there a little bit more. And since, we're uploading this as well, because I think I mentioned it in our news show once, but we also had an Avengers Endgame giveaway that I totally forgot to choose the winner. But I did. It was just, there's so much been going on with work and what. The link to that will be in the description below on YouTube. I also post it on the description through our audio form for the podcast. And I believe that pretty much does it. Again, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a blast. It's been an honor. We will definitely do this again. Rebels review.
Yeah, let's do it. Especially season 2 is the best, but I want to be on season 3 because I have a special relationship with season 3.
Okay, definitely. I'll definitely keep you guys posted once I finish it because I might as well just do it. It's a big Star Wars month type thing.
Do it.
Do it. Leave him or we'll never make it. Oh. It's like, okay, thanks. But so that pretty much concludes it. That was Patrick and that was Ren, and we will see you guys in the next one.